Hello and welcome to this playthrough of Valkyria Chronicles 4. We're going to be trying to achieve an A rank on the Supply Depot mission, which is in Chapter 8, I think, of the storyline. We're going to be going back and playing it again after getting, I think, a C rank initially. So what we're going to be doing in this is probably having a little better chance at getting that A rank than the first time you attempt it, because again, I do have better weapons and gear and stuff because I am a few chapters, I think, ahead at this point from where this takes place originally in the story. I'm not sure if you have access to the smoke rounds yet for the main tank, the Hoffen. You will see me utilizing them in my strategy for this map. So if you don't have access to those yet, the trains may give you a little bit of a trouble as far as their interception fire. I was able to basically negate the interception fire from the trains quite a bit using the smoke rounds from the tank. And here we have our first train that comes in. The train has, I think, two like Gatling guns on it, as well as what's called a mortar cannon. However, it functions more like the main turret on a tank. It doesn't fire in an arc like a mortar normally does. It can fire as like I said, the main turret on a tank. It fires more like a big gun than it does a mortar. So keep that in mind. It's not actually going to be able to, like a tank, not going to be quite as precise as a mortar shot, nor have the kind of AoE damage, at least not that I noticed. But you can see here that I've used the APC to move 3 of my troops up, and we're going to take Raz here and knock out one of the troops there. Then I'm going to move him over to the switch. Now if you hit these switches, what it's going to do is the next time that the train moves that's corresponding to the track closest to that switch, the train will actually go off the map and will not bug you anymore. So these 2 switches, and unfortunately you only get 2. As far as I can tell, there's only 2 switches. You'll see here, even though the game hasn't told me about these switches, I went ahead and hit one already. It's going to tell me about these switches after I've already hit the first one. But only 2 show up in the map. So as far as I know, that middle train track, like, you have to just deal with the train there. There's no switch that I'm seeing on the map, nor did I find one through playing this map a few times. There is no switch for that middle train track. I think it's just one of the trains. You either have to disable the 3 Ragnite radiator places on them, and it looks like you can only do that with your mortar troops because they're on top of it, or you just simply have to kind of utilize the strategy that I do, which is a combination of using the smoke rounds from the Hoffen to negate the intercept fire and hide your troops. Or you'll see I also do use a few of the defense up orders that Claude can issue. And usually if you give, especially your shock troopers, that defense up order, they kind of become a little invincible, even on normal mode like this. It's a really good order that I find myself using quite often, because even you'll see me use it on, I think, Minerva later, and she's a scout. Like, she's able to pretty much not take hardly any damage from the tank in order to rush that last switch. Whereas normally if I were to have her do that, she would get mowed down in seconds. So here I'm deploying the first smoke round from the Hoffen, and I'm going to place it right there so that I can continue moving my troops up without getting plastered by the interception fire from the train. The reason I didn't have to worry about that before is that, number one, that train wasn't there initially, and number 2, I had troops in my APC, so they really were not in any danger anyway. So basically with this turn, I'm going to be moving my troops up using the smoke cover provided by the Hoffen. We're going to then try to utilize that first capture point I've got and maybe bring in some other troops to provide support, and try to move up and capture the next enemy capture point, as well as take care of 2 tanks that are coming up in the next little part you have to kind of push through.
Here I come! How was that?
All allies have been taken out! Eat this! They're range!
For victory!
Commencing counterattack. Follow my lead.
And here we're going to be taking our second scout, Curtis, and moving him up. We're going to be using both the smoke screen as well as the APC to provide him some cover. I don't think he takes any damage at all in this first turn that he has. We noticed Minerva was getting hit a little bit by that interception fire as she was moving into the first captured base there, so I was a little more cautious with Curtis there. We're going to try to move Riley up as well, and try to keep her from taking any damage as well. Try to hide her behind that APC. Some of the interception fire still gets through. I'm not sure that I started to say tank. I'm not sure the train actually had a decent line of sight there. It felt like the bullets were going through the APC, but maybe I misjudged the angle. But she's able to take out the Ford troop up there, at least. And then we're going to move our sniper Kai up. We won't utilize her a whole lot in this mission, but she is able to take out a sniper and maybe a troop or 2 that you've got to deal with coming up. Plus she gets a command point, so that gives you more moves. And of course we always want a engineer handy. Not so much to repair our tanks and stuff, because they're actually going to be prevented from really being involved much further than this, other than the Hoffen providing smoke shell support by being able to make smoke screens. That's about the only use you're going to have. I don't think I end up using the APC anymore at all for the rest of the map. We do want to bring Raz up a little more. Maybe utilize him, if nothing else, for some defense on that first captured base, because the enemy will try to take it back. And as you can see here, at the end of your turn, the trains start to move, and they move around on the map. And like I said, if you hit the switches, if I'm not mistaken, that first train, when it tries to come back around in the tunnel, it's kind of funny to watch it. It's going to come in, and because I hit that switch, it's not going to stop and be able to harass me. It's going to come back in, and there it goes. It got rerouted onto the other train track, and so it's goodbye train, and off he goes to who knows where. But I don't have to deal with that train anymore. So hitting that first switch there is really helpful. Otherwise, you're going to be harassed by that first train, and even though you might have the smoke rounds and stuff, it's still going to be able to cause you a lot of limitations in your strategy. So we're going to be making our push with the second turn to try to capture the next enemy capture point, which is going to also bring about the second train. And like I said, this is the one I think you just simply have to deal with. I don't think there's a way to route this train to different tracks and be done with it. So you have to be very careful with the positioning of your troops and such. We're also going to be clearing off to the left here. Behind where Minerva is now is where that second enemy base is. But we're going to be using her to go hit the last switch, which is going to be in the upper left corner of the map. So we've got to use the grass there to give her some concealment so she doesn't get torn apart by the train. So yeah, we're going to be putting some of the troops there on that left, providing her support, and then we're also going to be pushing most of our troops to the right to go take that next enemy capture point, because we need to use that to as like a rally point to move on to the third capture point, which is where we're going to make our last final push to the enemy command point, that when you take that, you win the map. This is one of those maps where if you just take the enemy's main command point, then you win the map. It doesn't matter if you kill everybody or not. Now there is a ace tank that's near the last capture point, the one with the star on it, the red one with the star at the top of the map. That's what I'm going to be pushing into, because the ranking system in this game is, I believe, just like Valkyria Chronicles 1. You get an A rank based on the number of turns it takes to capture or not necessarily capture, but to get victory on a map. It's based more on your turn number than how many enemies you kill and stuff like that. So I'm not going to worry about killing the ace. I still haven't yet figured out if killing aces is how you get special items in this game. It doesn't seem to be. In Valkyria Chronicles 1, I believe if you killed aces and then like captured their bodies by walking over them, you would sometimes get special like enemy equipment and stuff. But in this one, it seems to be just getting an A rank on a mission is how you get special equipment. You'll see when I get an A rank on this one, at the end of the video, I get awarded some nice little awards for my achievement. So, yeah. So anyway, we're going to be taking our only Lancer that we're using on this map, and we're going to be sneaking up on this tank to take care of that. And then he's actually going to be able to take care of that second tank behind him.
Eat this! Not done yet! Justice prevails!
I see. They're good.
Okay, so here we're going to be using, attempting to use the tank again to launch a smoke round to provide a little cover for our troops, because I noticed when I moved my Lancer up, he got hurt pretty badly by the interception fire. So I probably should have done this first and saved him from taking that damage and having to basically waste a command point to do a healing request on him. The smoke rounds seem to be pretty effective on this map to provide cover for your troops. There's a few instances in the video that I misplaced my shots a little bit, and they kind of resulted in a wasted turn for the tank. It can be very hard to hit where you need to once you push up past the second base, because these smoke rounds have basically the range of like the mortar shell as well, so it doesn't have terribly far range on it. But yeah, it is pretty effective, at least pushing up onto the first two command points that you need to take. Here I've brought Raleigh up, and I'm going to just blind fire into that second enemy base, try to guess where the enemy is. And you see I do a little damage to them, knock them out of cover from the sandbags so that they're easier to kill. We're then going to try to move her up some more, and it looks like for the most part the smoke screen there is able to shield her from taking any interception fire. So that smoke round was a pretty good placement on my part. It looks like it's doing the job that I wanted it to.
Enemy spotted!
Too easy. One more for me.
Oh.
Leave it to me.
Okay, so we're going to take our Lancer and sneak him back to the other tank. I did get pretty lucky with this shot that I'm about to take. It may take you 2 turns to get close enough to ensure a kill, but yeah, good on this Lancer for hitting that, because I wasn't expecting that to actually hit the radiator there and do a one-shot kill on that tank, so I got pretty lucky with that. We're going to bring in some additional troops to help us out, since I know I want to make a push onto the next base, and I had to bring my shock trooper Farrier from that first command point to the second one. I wanted to make sure I had a shock trooper defending that first command point, because the enemy sometimes will send troops up in there to try to take it back.
Where are the reinforcements?
Nice to feel dirt under my feet.
They're going for the supply.
Moving out.
What the hell has been on?
Okay, so once you take this second capture point, you kind of got to watch out for enemies coming from the third capture point, from that staircase that's in front of Curtis there. They're going to be coming around down that ramp in the southeast corner of the map, and they're going to be trying to recapture that capture point. So you want to try to position troops there to guard it once you take it, because they will be eventually moving their way around that little train track area and coming down that staircase trying to take it. So but once you take it, you can call in some additional troops there, maybe a shock trooper, a scout, and a Lancer. If you want to take out the ace tank, a Lancer might be good. I think I end up bringing in a Lancer. I think I never use him, though, in the last part, because I'm able to basically just use my scout and my shock trooper to capture the last non-essential capture point, and then use them to push onto the victory capture point. So here you'll see the tank using what the game calls a mortar cannon, but doesn't operate like any other mortar in the game. Like if you shoot your mortars from your tank or your mortar troops, your grenadiers, it goes way up and then comes back down. It has like an arc to it. But instead, the mortar cannons on the train shoot very straight like a normal gun. But I got pretty lucky there. It didn't hit Riley. So basically it saved me from having to worry about her health being too low. And as you saw, she was able to provide some covering fire for some of the troops trying to make an advance on recapturing that second capture point. Troops are also moving from that left high ground area, so we have to worry about those too, because we do want to move Minerva up into that area so she has access to the ladder that is going to bring her down to the second switch area, because we definitely want to get that the new train that's going to appear on the top rail to not give us any trouble. We want it to go ahead and go off the map and not bug us ever again. So we're going to be having to take note that there is some infantry there that we're going to have to deal with. Here we're also going to try to once again use our tank to provide some smoke screen for our troops. I'm not sure, I can't remember if it's this shot or the next one where my smoke rounds basically don't really do a whole lot to help me out. It might be the next shot, because I think this shot here, it does allow some of my troops to advance towards the nope, I think I'd overshot it a little bit there. I'm not sure it's gonna help. I don't know, it might help or not, we'll have to see. Yeah, it looks like it was a little short there. But not that the shock trooper here needs it, because she's kind of far away from where that machine gun's shooting her, and shock troopers are just really tanky in this game. Much more tanky than they were in the other Valkyria Chronicle games that I've played. So you'll end up figuring out that in Valkyria Chronicles 4 that shock troopers are kind of like your all-stars. They're going to be doing a lot of your pushing for advancing and capturing and stuff like that. I remember in Valkyria Chronicles 1, scouts seemed to be like the superstars of the team. It seemed like even though they were supposed to be a little squishy, they could take a pretty good amount of damage. Plus you had Alicia, who had a potential that would often activate that would fully restore her health. So that was very helpful. But it seems like shock troopers are far more advanced in this game, to the point that you can pretty much use them to just storm into the enemy territory, which is good because it's in their title. They're storm troopers. They're supposed to be running into a hell of bullets in order to make way for your softer troops.
Counterattack. Follow my lead.
As you wish.
Engaging.
Please hit.
They're good.
So we're going to position some of our troops here ready to push up on that third capture point. We're also going to take Minerva here and get her set up to hit that second switch. Now you're going to see that when I go up the little embankment here, I do have to take out the Grenadier. And then when I move up to the high ground area to the left here, it's going to actually cause the third train to appear. So be aware that, you know, you can't just march into that second switch. The game spawns in the third train, and it stops right near where the switch is. Not only that, but it brings in some additional troops. So you have to be very careful when getting her set up for that. We are going to be able to hit that switch, I think, in our next turn. But we're going to have to use, I think, a defense up order on her as well as a heal order, just to make it so she can hit the switch. But you definitely want to hit that switch, otherwise taking the victory capture point may be a little difficult. I do dismiss my Lancer there, and then I bring him back at this base. That actually, I think, was a bit of a mistake on my part. I should have waited till I captured that last capture point. Well, not the last one, but the third one. Although I don't think I end up actually using him anymore after that. So unless if you really want to destroy the ace tank at the victory capture point, then you really probably do not even need to use that Lancer anymore. And here I use Kai to take out this one troop that's pushing on the second capture point. Although I probably didn't even need to do that because I have plenty of troops defending it. The interception fire they would provide would most likely kill that scout before they could do anything. So we're going to kind of make another blunder here. When I was messing around with my equipment before I started this mission, I think I accidentally equipped this Grenadier with the Sanders M6 that you see there, which actually doesn't do that much damage against armored troops like these turrets here. Not only do I miss this shot, my smoke grenade kind of messed up my vision on that. But even if I would have hit it, as I'm going to hit it with Riley here in a minute, you can see the Sanders M6 just does so little damage against armored targets that it's really not worth your time. So if you do want to take out the train, you can take out the 3 turrets, and that renders it, you know, no longer a threat. It'll still be, it won't blow the whole train up, but it won't be able to attack you. If you're going to do that, make sure that you do equip one of your grenadiers with the anti-armor mortar, the one that does much higher damage. I think you can actually take those turrets out with just one well-placed shot, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think in my first attempt, I actually took out that middle train with all its turrets. And it is a strategy you could employ, but that middle train really doesn't cause much of an issue with the strategy that I do here, because we're mainly going to be circumnavigating the train enough and using enough smoke grenades that it really doesn't do that much damage at all. Here you can see I do land a shot, pretty much a direct hit on that, and you can see it would take at least 2 well-placed shots with the Sanders M6 just to destroy it. So I kind of abandoned trying to take those out. I think I may try to take one more shot at it, but I realized that, you know, I don't need to take out those turrets. They're really not hampering me from being able to get that last victory point. And here the trains are going to move again. They bring some reinforcements, as the game says. You might get a little excited when you see that train go through the tunnel. You may think, hey, they're gone, you know, I don't have to hit the switch. But you do, in fact, have to hit that switch, or else it will come back. So you have to be aware of that. Here we're going to not have to worry much about these troops coming from the 3rd capture point. They're going to desperately try to take back that 2nd capture point, but between having a shock trooper and a scout guarding in the grass there, they're just going to get mowed down. Now, they are going to be positioning some of those reinforcements they got near the last capture point, trying to move them up there as well. But they're not going to be much of a problem. Minerva may take a sniper hit right there. But as long as you have her in the sandbags, she can't get a critical hit, and it reduces the damage, so that's not going to be a huge factor. As you can see, I do have that that 1st capture point guarded enough that any attempts by the enemy to take it back are going to be pretty much ineffective. And as promised, that third train does come back. And it once again positions itself right in front of the switch. So you have to utilize a good strategy for getting that 2nd switch. I imagine you probably could skip activating that switch. You might just get, time your movements right. That the train is far enough to the left there that if you really push really hard for that last capture point, I don't think it's going to harass you much trying to take it, because it's a little too far on the left. And here I do try to use another smoke round, hoping that it will provide Minerva with some cover. But as you can see, the limited range on those smoke rounds, this is really not going to be able to help me too much with pushing her up, because it's just not going to reach quite far enough to do what I need it to do. You can see it hit kind of the ramp to the right of her instead of, up where I need it to. So we're going to kind of push a little hard here with her and attempt to hit that 2nd switch. You can use the grass here as cover. And I think there's an engineer here that you can take out with her rifle grenade. If you don't have the rifle grenades unlocked at this point, which I can't remember if you play the story, just on your first time through, I can't remember if you have rifle grenades at this point or not. I think you might, but if you don't, you could potentially just not worry about that engineer and right away, and just do the defense boost and heal her with your orders. And she should be okay, still be able to hit that switch. And then maybe use another turn just to kill that engineer and hide her in the grass again so that she won't get killed. So we're going to take that sniper out also, just so he can't take pot shots at us while we're trying to win the game. And here we're going to push up for that third capture point. It should be real easy to take if you bring a shock trooper, maybe a scout as a backup, like you see me do. I'm not sure again if you have the flamethrower unlocked at this point either, but even if you don't, you can just use a grenade. Most of the grenades can one-shot enemies hiding behind the sandbags at this point in the game. So we're going to take that capture point there and then try to go ahead and set up our final push into the victory capture point there. So you can see I kind of wasted my last turn calling in my Lancer. So I'm going to call him into this third capture point instead. Just because the Lancers move so slow, it would take me, I think 2 or 3 turns just to move him on foot up there from the second capture point to the third capture point. So we're not going to worry about having to move him and instead just going to spawn him in. And like I said before, I don't even think I utilize him anymore in this mission. Now, I could have maybe tried to bring Curtis up a little further there, but that's a shock trooper and I didn't want to risk him getting downed by the interception fire there. So we're going to retreat our shock trooper there because I want to have another Lancer come in, because originally I was thinking, yeah, I'll take out those tanks at the last capture point. But it turns out you actually, I don't think I do. I don't think you need to take them out. And we're going to use Riley here to take out that shock trooper so that I don't have to worry about Curtis or my shock trooper up there to taking any interception fire or wasting a turn having to kill that shock trooper. And if we move her up here anyway, we can maybe get some interception fire from her on any movement that occurs in that last little area there. And here we have to use a couple of orders. I think I do, yeah, a healing request on her, which is going to get, I think will make her health full again. And then we're going to do another order to boost her defense. The defense boost is very effective in this game. It negates a lot of the damage that you take, even for a squishy scout like Minerva. You can see here I'm got that middle train that's bearing right down on me. So as soon as I come out of that grass, I'm going to start getting absolutely hammered by that train. Not only that, but I also have to worry about, just any critical shots that hit her. I'm not sure vehicles do any kind of critical shots, but you definitely don't want her going down because I don't have anybody nearby her to pick up her baton if she goes down and hit that switch. So we've hit that switch there. That takes care of the third train. Next time it moves, it should go off the map. And then we can just hide her in the grass again, and I don't think we need her anymore. She's done her job. She can just retire for the mission. We are going to move Raz up to this capture point just as a precaution. Oh, nope, I retire him. I forgot. Because I think I bring him back here just to have some added firepower. Because, yeah, I don't think we have any enemies anywhere near that first capture point. We don't have to worry about defending it as much. And I absolutely love this character, Farrier, here. She's probably my favorite character from the game. I love her design. And not to spoil anything, but I don't know how the squad stories work in this game, but I think if you use a person enough, it allows you to see their squad story. I may be mistaken on that, but you do end up getting a squad story for her and learn more about why she wears the mask and stuff. But I love the design of her character. I love that she has like this medieval mask that also has like racing stripes on it, and then the bows with the ponytails. It's just a really unique design. I don't know, maybe it draws inspiration or stole from some other anime or something like that, but I just really like it. The overall design of this game in general, it's a beautifully designed game. I love the setting, how it's like a fake alternate universe of like World War II. It's just everything about this game, it just really is pleasing to me. And I did get a little scared there because I didn't realize that a reinforcement was going to spawn there. And I really thought he was going to take that capture point back. But instead he chose to find cover and try to kill Riley there, which ultimately proved ineffective. Even if they had taken that capture point, it would not have been that hard to get it back the next turn. And actually, I probably wouldn't have bothered with it because I'm going to be able to take the victory capture point during my next turn. Now, in Valkyria Chronicles 1, a lot of times if enemy shock troopers came up to your shock troopers, they could very well take them out. Like you saw Farrier there, she wasn't in any cover or anything. But they're really tanky in this game. It would take probably 2 or 3 enemy shock troopers. Unless if you're going up against those elite shock troopers you run into sometimes. And there goes the third train, because I hit the switch. Bye-bye. Never to be seen again.
Bye, Felicia.
But yeah, the shock troopers are really tanky in this game, and you can risk leaving them out in the open, kind of like I did with Farrier there. It takes a whole lot to get them killed. It seems like enemy Lancers are actually more of a threat to your troops than enemy shock troopers. I've had enemy Lancers one-shot kill some of my soldiers.
I will see this through.
Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm trying to move my tank over so I can provide some more cover for my troops using those smoke shells that the Hafen can fire. I'm just trying to get a good position here. Not sure that if this shot actually ends up helping me that much. I think it does. I think you can actually reach just enough that your troops coming down from the third capture point can avoid some of the fire from that train there. We're about to find out as Miss Farrier here makes her way down that ladder, and it does look like the smoke is maybe enough there to well, not with the first turret, but again, you know, your shock troopers are so tanky. I mean, she's taking so much fire there and really not taking much damage. So we're gonna park her right there and make sure she's safe. We can essentially probably just go ahead and risk having her storm in, but I'm going to once again use that amazing defense boost order, and this pretty much makes her invincible. So she's going to be able to storm right on into that enemy camp. Barely took any damage, and that's it. You win the match. All you need is that enemy capture point. Even though she is surrounded by enemies, she won the game for us. Well, not the whole game, but that map. It does seem a little cheesy that you can beat the enemy just by taking a capture point. But that goes both ways. There have been a few maps I've played in this where I didn't guard my victory capture point, and the enemy stormed in, kind of snuck in a scout, because scouts can move really far, so an enemy scout will come from somewhere I wasn't paying attention to and capture my my main flag, which ends the mission for me. So that kind of goes both ways, and you can see here we did get an A rank. As part of getting an A rank, like I said, I'm pretty sure that's how you earn these special weapons and gear. So we get a few pieces of equipment there to help us along the way. So I hope you've enjoyed this little walkthrough of the Supply Depot ambush mission from Chapter 7 of Valkyria Chronicles 4. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out some of my other videos if you enjoyed this content. Thank you for watching.